Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Artistic Atom, and in this session we will be discussing the same topic, that is materials and their structures, but will cover the part 2 of our previous session. So let's get started topics from it. So in the previous session we have discussed all three topics which are marked over here. Now this topic which is highlighted in green is the actual topic that we are going to cover in this session. So today we'll be understanding exactly how to measure volume and temperature and what are the instruments that we are going to use. Now, when we talk about measurements of volume and measurement of temperature, so let's start with volume. So in case of volume, we use an instrument that is called as measuring cylinder. Now, measuring cylinder has a tall and narrow container, and it is used to measure the volume of liquids accurately. As you can see in the picture, this is tall, cylindrical, and it is used to measure the volume of liquids. Now, measuring cylinders are of two types. First one is graduated measuring cylinder, and another one is non-graduated measuring cylinder. Now, when we talk about graduated ones, they have markings on them. Okay. Now, since they have the exact markings on them, I am aware of the exact volume of the liquid that I'm going to measure. So this means measuring cylinder which has markings, they are called as graduated measuring cylinders and they have exact markings on them. But suppose if the marking is not mentioned or printed on the cylinder, we call them as non-graduated measuring cylinder. So we can just pour a liquid from one container to another, or it can just hold the liquid, but it cannot measure the exact volume of the liquid. Now, nextly, we are going to understand the different vocabularies or the definitions that we should know while using a measuring cylinder. So, first one is volume. What do you understand by the term volume? It is nothing but the amount of space that the liquid is occupying inside that particular cylinder. So, like for example, in a cylinder, if I have poured water, I will say that the volume of that particular water is 50 ml. Now the next term is measuring cylinder. We have discussed it already. That is a tall, narrow container which are having marks on it is called as measuring cylinder. Okay, and it also measures the volume of liquid. And if it is having marking, then only it will measure it accurately. If it is not having, then it is only used for pouring or either to hold the liquid. Now, next term is the meniscus. Now, meniscus is the very important term. You should know this because if you're not aware of it, you will not be able to measure the volume of the liquid properly. So, as you can see in this particular cylinder, I have poured water. Now, here there is formation of this deep, we can say deep concave lens kind of a shape. So this shape is called as meniscus of a liquid. So when we talk about a meniscus, there are two types of meniscus. First one is called as the concave meniscus and second one is called as the convex meniscus. So concave meniscus is curved down like a cave. So in case of cave, we know that it has some kind of depression in it. That's why whenever you see a depression, it is nothing but a concave meniscus and it is always curved down. Whenever now the opposite of the same is whenever you see a curve upside, we will call it as a convex meniscus. Now, how to decide whether to consider concave meniscus or convex meniscus while measuring the volume? Actually, it depends upon the liquid that you are measuring in it. So, suppose if your liquid is clear, okay, so then you're going to use a concave meniscus. If your liquid is opaque or it is colored, you are going to use convex meniscus. Now, what's the reason behind it? Because in case of colored liquids or opaque liquids, the downward curved part is not visible, as you can see in this image. Hence, in order to get the accurate measurement of the volume, we consider the upper curve of that particular meniscus. Hope you have understood the difference between them. Now the next vocabulary is eye level. So eye level is nothing but the exact position of your eye and the measuring cylinder. So whenever you're measuring any liquid inside a cylinder, make sure to keep it exactly at your eye level. Because if you're going to keep it a little lower than that of your eye level, you will end up with an incorrect reading. Similarly, when you are keeping it above your eye level, you will be able to end up with an incorrect reading. Such kind of errors in while taking readings, we call it as what? Parallax error. So in order to avoid such kind of parallax error, make sure to keep it exactly at your eye level, because you will be able to see where exactly on which marking the meniscus is exactly touching the line. So you will end up with an exactly appropriate correct reading. Now the next is units of measurement. Whenever we talk about volume, there are two units that we use at this particular level, because in higher grades you will be able to learn that there are few more units that we use to measure the liquid. So first is ml and second one is liter. So these are the two units that we use to measure the volume of a liquid inside a cylinder. Now here I have put three questions for you. So if you have understood how to read a measuring cylinder properly, you will be able to see the exact volume of liquid present in these three cylinders. So do put your answers or in the comment section. If you have any query or need any help, do write it in the comment section. I'll be happy to help you out. Now the next is measuring temperature. When we talk about measuring temperature, we use a device which is called as thermometer. Okay, it is an instrument which tells you the exact temperature of an object or a place or a substance. Okay, so when we talk about the term temperature, temperature tells you how cold or how hot an object is. So like suppose if you keep this thermometer over this object, you will be able to see that the temperature is continuously decreasing. So you will be able to make out that this particular substance is cold. If you are keeping this thermometer over this object, you will be able to see that the temperature is increasing. Hence, you will conclude that an object is hot. So temperature is temperature measures how hot or cold an object or place is. Now there are three different units that we use to measure the temperature. First is degree Celsius, second one is degree Fahrenheit, and third one is Kelvin. These three types of thermometer you will be able to find in the market, which we use to measure the temperature. Now out of these three, Kelvin is the only SI unit for the temperature. So whenever we are carrying out any calculations in chemistry, physics or biology, we always make sure to convert the temperature into Kelvin units. Now the next vocabulary is the bulb. So bulb is nothing but this bottom part of the thermometer, which consists of usually mercury or sometimes colored alcohol. Now when the temperature increases, this mercury or alcohol, they expands, their molecule gain energy and they move far apart, hence they try to expand into that particular space. So as they are expanding, the level of mercury increases in this capillary tube, and we will be able to get or read the exact temperature of that object. If the temperature is decreasing, so the particles, they are losing energy, and as they lose energy, slowly and steadily the mercury level contracts and it drops down into that particular capillary tube. Now the next vocab is the capillary tube. It is nothing but this thin narrow tube inside this particular thermometer, in which the liquid rises or drops. This particular narrow tube is called as capillary tube. Let's move ahead. So the next term is scale. So when we were reading on thermometer, we have seen that on thermometer there are different markings. Okay, so these markings are nothing but the scale of thermometer. So whenever we talk about the scale of thermometer, usually it refers to the markings on this particular thermometer. Now the next term is the expansion. So whenever this liquid mercury inside the thermometer gets the higher temperature, sensation of the higher temperature, it starts to expand. As it starts to expand, the molecules, they move upward in that particular capillary tube. This procedure is called as expansion. Now suppose if the temperature is decreasing, so when the temperature decreases, the particles, they lose energy. As they lose energy, they move down. This means they try to contract into that particular capillary tube. As they are contracting, the procedure is called as a contraction. Now the next term is the fixed point. As you can see, for each and every thermometer, there are two types of fixed point. First one is called as the upper fixed point. Second one is called as a lower fixed point. So as I told you earlier that there are three types of thermometer that we get. First one is with Celsius scale, second one is with Fahrenheit, and third one is with Kelvin. So for Celsius scale, the lower fixed point is 0 degrees Celsius, and for the upper fixed point is 100 degrees Celsius. Similarly, for Fahrenheit, the lower fixed point is 32 degree Fahrenheit and upper fixed point is 212 degree Fahrenheit. Same goes with Kelvin scale. So on Kelvin scale, what do we have? 273 Kelvin as the lower fixed point and 373 Kelvin as the upper fixed points. So these were the different vocabulary that we use while measuring the temperature and when we use a thermometer. Here I have put three questions for you where you're supposed to observe the pictures and write the exact temperature shown in these thermometers. Okay, and write your answers in the comment section. If you have any query or any doubt or anything you want me to answer, do comment it in the comment section. So with this, we have completed our both the sections, that is 2.2 and 2.3. I hope you have understood everything. If there are any queries, please do comment. I'll be really happy to help you out. And do like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Artistic Atom. See you in the next video.